So this is going to be the second lecture of our advanced Flutter series, in which we're going to cover next topic of our chapter 1, which is date and time picker, and we'll make a task scheduler app using this concept. We can select a date, so I'll select 17, and we can also select a time, so I'll just select 3:30, and we can add a task on this particular time, so I'll write eat snacks, and I'll just add this task. And now this task is visible on our screen with the particular date and time. So let's build this. So this is going to be the second lecture of our advanced Flutter series, in which we're going to learn how we can pick date and time, and later on we are going to create a task scheduler app. So to create an Flutter application, we require two functions. First is our main function and second is our run app function. So we'll make it, and now we'll create our first custom widget, which is my app, and we need to define it too. So I'll make a stateless widget for it. So stateless widget, and here I'll name it as my app, and now we're going to return a material app over here. So this material app will just provide an empty space where we can customize our application. Now we'll use its home property and create our second custom widget, which is home page, and now we need to define it too. So we'll make a stateful class for it. So I'll make it and I'll name it as home page. And now here the second class is our state management class, and the first class is our state representation class. Okay, now we'll just return a scaffold over here. So I'll just type scaffold, and inside this we'll give an app bar, and again we have to type app bar. Inside this we'll use title property and our text widget, and we'll provide a text task scheduler app, and we'll save this much of code. And I'll just open my terminal and debug console. I'll just press F5, and we will just run this much of code. So we'll wait for some time. So our app is created and it is looking nice. Now what we'll do, we'll first remove this banner. So we have to come to this material app and write an statement debug show check banner to false. Okay, now we'll come to this app bar and we'll use its property center title and set it to true, so that this title will come in center like this. Okay, now we'll define two variables over here. So first is of date time, and we'll name it as selected date, and second is of time of day type, and we'll name it as selected time. So selected time, and here the state time and time of day are predefined classes in our Flutter package, and this selected time and selected date are the variable we have created. Okay, so now we'll come to this scaffold and use its body property. So I'll use body and make a column inside it. So column and row always take children. So I'll first create a container over here. So container, and give decoration box decoration, but I'll decorate it later. And first we'll use child property inside this container and make another column, and column always take children. So I'll make children. So here we want to show a container, and inside that container we will use a column, and inside that column we'll select a date, and we'll use a elevated button over here. So we required a row for it. So I'll just make a row, and row also take children property. And first I'll use a text widget, let's say data, and I'll just save this much of code. So we got data over here. Now I'll use a elevated button over here, and in on press property now we'll keep it as empty. And here in this child we'll use a text widget, and over the button we'll provide a text select date, and we'll save it. So now we got a button. Now we'll just decorate this container too. So I'll call box shadow inside it. So box shadow, and we have to use this bracket, and again we have to type box shadow, and inside this function we'll use colors dot blue dot with opacity of 0.2. So what it will do, it will just provide a light shade of blue color to me. Okay, and now I just want space between this two widget. We can come to row and use its main axis alignment property, and main axis alignment dot space between. So we got space in between, and now we'll just wrap this column too. So we'll wrap it in padding, so this container will get some more space. And now we'll come to this text widget, and I'll just remove this. And what we'll do here, first we call our variable selected date, and we'll check if it's null. Then so this selected date is our variable which we have declared here. Okay, and now if our selected date value is null, so what we can do, we can print select a date, and otherwise what we can do, we can just show the date. So what we'll do, we'll use dollar sign and use date format, but currently we are not able to use it, so we have to come to this and go to our pubspec.ml, and in this dependency below the Cupertino icons we have to write intel, and we can install any version. Okay, then I'll save this, and coming back to my main.dart. Okay, I'll just hide this, and now we can use our date format. So we'll come to this, and we have and we'll write date, and using dollar sign with this bracket, what we'll do, we'll use date format dot ymd, this is for year, month and date, and dot format, and pass our selected date inside it, and we'll use a null check operator to check whether this value is not empty. And now we'll just provide style to this text widget. So we'll give text style font size to 18, and now I'll just save this. So we get a text over here, and this is because our selected value is null, so we got a text selector date. And now we'll just copy this row and again paste it. So now we'll just change this variable from selected date to selected time and the text selector time, and we'll just remove this whole statement from here, and we'll just use the quotes and write time and dollar sign with curly braces, and now write selected time with null check operator dot format and context. So this will print the time, and now I'll just save this. So okay, we got another row, and I'll just take some height from here, so size box, or let's say height of 8. Now I'll just save this. Okay, now I'll just change this text to select time. Okay, and now I'll just come outside of this container and make a text field. So I'll make container and use its child property, so child, and text form field, and I'll just save this. So we got a text form field in our screen. Now we'll just decorate it too. So decoration, box decoration, and we'll pass color. So colors dot blue dot with opacity of 0.2. We want light shade of blue color, and I'll save this. Okay, and now we'll just take some height from here, so sized box, and a height of, let's say, 12, and I'll save this. And I'll just do one more thing. I'll just wrap this container into padding widget agenset.all and give it 8 so that we get more space. Okay, now we'll come back to this text field and provide decoration to it. So we'll provide input decoration and we'll give label text. So label text and we'll give enter task. So I'll just save this and we get our label text. Now we'll give border to it. So border outline input border and we'll save this. Okay, now we got border too. And last one more thing, we'll use padding widget inside it. So edge inside dot all and we'll give 8. Okay, now our container is looking perfect. Now we have to access the text entered in this field. So we'll make controller. So to make controller, we have to come to this state management class and we'll write a statement. We'll use final and use text editing controller and give the name of variable task controller, and inside this we'll call text editing controller function. So this is the statement for declaring our controller, and now we'll just pass this task controller inside the text field. So we'll pass it task controller. Okay, now we'll just make an elevated button to add the tasks. So we'll come to this column and make an elevated button, and let's keep the onPress property empty for now, and we'll use this child and we'll use our text widget here. So text, and we'll pass a text add task. So okay, we got a button over here. Now we'll just provide it some style. So we'll give style elevated button dot style form and we'll pass color to it. So we have to use primary colors dot green and we'll just save this. So we got a green button, and also we just take the height. So height 12. Okay, so now we'll create the method for our UI. So we have to come to the state management class, and here first we'll make a method to select a date. So we'll make a function which is going to be future, and we'll set the data type void, and now the function name select date, and we'll use this parenthesis, and inside this we'll pass the build context. So build context, and we'll make this function as asynchronous. So we'll use the keyword async, and here inside first we'll use the keyword final, and we'll use the class date time, and we'll make a local variable for this method which is pick. So we'll use first await and we'll use show date picker, and here the context is our phone context, and in initial date we'll use date time dot now function, and in the first date we'll start our calendar from year 2000, and the last date will be, let's say, 2101, and we'll check the condition if our picked, our local variable, is not equals to null, and our picked not equals to our selected date, then we'll use the set state. So I'll just call set state method, and here I'll pass the picked variable inside this selected date. So we'll write selected date and the variable name picked. Okay, now I'll just save this. So now my selected date variable got a value and now it's not null. So we'll just save this and we'll press on this select date. And one more thing, we have to come to the elevated button, and in its on press property we have to pass the function which we have made. So select date, and the context is our phone context. I'll just save this. So now we just press on this select date. Okay, now our calendar is open, and now we'll choose 15. Okay, so we choose the date 15 June, and now we'll make another function to select a time. So I'll just write a comment, select time. Okay, now I'll make another method. It is also going to be future, and we'll give the data type void and name the function select time, and we'll call our build context, and we also make this process asynchronous. So we'll use a keyword async. Now we'll call the class date of time with using the keyword final, and make another local variable for this method picked, and inside this use await. And now I'll show time picker. Inside this the context is our phone context, and in initial time will show the current time, so we'll use time of day. And here also I'll just remove this, just a second, and we'll use dot now function, so it will just give the current time. So I'll just save this, and now here also we'll check the condition. So if our picked value is not null, I'll write null, and our picked value is not equals to selected time. So what we'll do, we'll call our set state method. So I'll call set state, and here we'll pass the picked value in the selected time. So I'll just write time, and we'll pass the picked value. Okay, picked. Now I'll just save this, and now our selected time also get a value. So this is also not null. And now I'll come to this elevated button and pass here the function which we have made. So select time, and now I'll just save this, and now we'll come to this, and now we are able to access this clock, and let's just save the time 12:30. Okay, now we are able to save the time too. So now what we're going to do, we'll just represent the task entered by the user. So to store that task, we will need a list. So first we'll make a list in our state management class. So I'll just come to this state management class and write here final and our list. And here I'll map the string value dynamically. So I'll write string dynamic, and I'll name the list as task. So this is the syntax to create the list, and now we'll store the task inside it. And if you watched my previous video, I've taught that we'll use this braces to store our task. So first we'll create a method to add the task. So we'll create void add task, and we'll use this parentheses. And what we'll do here, we'll check if our selected date is not equals to null. So selected date is not equals to null, and our selected time is not equals to null. So selected time not equals to null, and we also check that this text field is not empty. So we'll write task controller dot text is not empty. Okay, now after checking this, what we'll do, we'll use the set state method, and here what we'll do, we'll access this list. So the list name is our task. I'll write this list name. So we'll write task and we'll use dot add method, and here we'll map our date to the selected date, and we'll map the time to our selected time, and we'll map our task to the task controller dot text. So we'll map it. So this is how we are mapping and storing the task inside this list. And now after adding the task, we can clear the field. So we'll write task controller dot clear function. Okay. So now just come to the on press property of elevated button and pass the function add task. Okay. So now the question is how we are going to represent that task. So we'll first write a comment showing task on screen, and we'll check some condition, like first I'll write the list name, so task, and we'll check if our list is empty, so what will print. We'll use the text widget and print no task added, and if our list is not empty, so we're going to return a list view. First we'll pass the item count, and inside the item count we'll pass the length of our list, so our list name task and its length. Okay, and in item builder what we'll pass, first we'll pass the phone context and our index value, and now we're going to make a local variable, so I'll write final task, and inside that local variable I am passing my list tasks and its index value. So this task is a local variable for this list view builder, and this task is my list, and we are passing this values inside that task. And now we'll just simply going to return a container. So I'll write a container and I'll just save this much of code, and we got a text no task added. So now our task is empty, so we are getting no task added. So I'll just decorate it, so I'll give it style, text style, and here I can give font size of let's say 24, and I'll pass the colors. I have to write with capital C, colors dot blue. Okay, I'll put comma over here, and I'll just save this. So okay, and one more thing, I'll just take space from here, so I'll use size box and take the height 15, and I'll just save this. Okay, now I'll use some property inside this list builder. So I'll use shrink wrap to true, it will just adjust my dimension, and physics to never scrollable physics. Okay, it's just make our screen scrollable. And now we'll just decorate this container too. So I'll give decoration, box decoration, and I'll give the box shadow, and we'll pass the color. So colors dot blue with opacity of 0.2, so we'll get a light shade of blue color. Okay, now I'll just save this, and now I just want to use the child property of this container, and we're going to return a list style, and inside that list style we'll use its title property, and we'll give a text, and inside that text we'll pass our local variable task. So I'll just save this, and I'll just hot reload my application, So I got an error. Okay, we have to just wrap our column into a single child scroll view. So to make our screen scrollable, so I'll just wrap this column into a widget single child scroll view. Okay, now we'll just set a date and we'll set a time. So I'll set 12:30 and let's just enter a task. So I'll just enter a task like wake up and I'll just add. Or okay guys, now we got a task on our screen. So the task is coming properly to our screen. And now I just decorate it more, so I'll use border radius and make the border radius to 12. Okay, now I'll just save this, and now I want to represent the date and time and also a tick icon over here. And before it, first I'll provide the text some style, so I'll give text style font size 16 and our font weight to bold. Now we can use another property of this list style, which is subtitle, and here we are going to show our date and time. So first we'll use text widget and we'll use the quote and we'll access this dollar sign and we'll use our date format, year, month and date, and here again we'll use format and we'll pass our task and our index value in which we'll give the selected date, and we'll use at is a string, and we'll use again a dollar sign and pass our local variable task, and inside that I'll pass the time, and we'll use dot format and our context, so context, and we'll save it. So we have to make sure that this date and time has same spelling as we have mentioned here. Now coming back, we'll use its another property trailing, and here we'll provide the icon. So I'll give icons dot circle checked icon, so check circle, and here I'll provide it color, so colors dot green, and I'll just save this. Now we'll just hot reload our application, so we'll wait for some time. Now we'll just select a date, so we'll select 15 and we'll select a time, so I'll just select 12:30 and I'll set it, and now I'll enter a task, let's say eat snacks, and I'll add it. So okay, we got our task with our date and time. We'll just decorate our container more, so I'll use padding, edge inset dot all, and we'll use 8 padding from all side. Okay, now it's got bigger, so I'll decrease it to 6. Okay, I'll decrease it to 5. Okay, now I'll just increase the font size, so I'll make it 21, and now I'll just add another task, so I'll choose a date like 28 June and I'll select a time 12 a.m. so 12 a.m. So it's my sister's birthday, so I'm adding a task, my sister's birthday, and I'll write birthday and our add task, So we got another task, my sister's birthday. Okay, now we'll just decorate it more. So I'll give colors dot white, and I'll save this. So our containers got white color. And now we'll come to this box shadow and give blur radius to 7, and I'll save this. So we got blur radius 7 in its border, and we'll give offset. We'll give 0 and 3. First we'll call the offset 0 and 3. I'll just remove it from here and type 3 and put a comma over here. Okay, now I'll just save this. And one more thing, we'll just add spread radius to 3, and let's save this. Okay, now our container are appearing clearly. Okay, now so this is how we can create a task on particular date and time. And there are more upcoming lectures in our advanced Flutter. So just subscribe our channel, study hard.